Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Katie. So today's video is going to be another one brand testing video. That brand is the brand Phoera. So I think you may have heard of this brand because they had a foundation that went quite viral last year. A lot of people said it was like a dupe for Estee Lauder or something, so a lot of people did videos on it. So this brand does have a full face of makeup products available. They have got a website, but you can also get all of the products on Amazon. I was originally going to order them off the website, but then some of the products I wanted weren't in stock, so I just decided to buy them all off of Amazon instead. Some of the products arrived quite quickly, some of them took quite a long time to arrive, so it's all a bit unpredictable. Obviously I have no idea what the waiting time would be like if you ordered off that website. So this is everything that we have. Don't do this to me. There are still 2 items I ordered, which were 2 just single matte eyeshadows, but it's been like 2 months now. They're not showing up. I just want to get on with the video, so we're going to do it without those eyeshadows. But a lot of these products have been sitting here gathering dust for a while. Okay, so we're going to start with concealer. So this is the Phoera Full Coverage Concealer. I got mine in the shade 102, which I think is the light shade. I'm not sure if there was one lighter, I can't actually remember now. But it has like really similar packaging to like the NARS Creamy Radiant Concealer. Yeah, I definitely feel like the shade is a bit orangey looking. It's not an ideal shade for pale skin. I feel like it's going to have more of a colour correcting property, if anything. But I'm going to test it out in my eye area regardless, just because I want to see what the coverage and the formula's like. I also did get a makeup sponge from them as well. See, sometimes I prefer sponges dry, so I don't know whether or not to dampen this or not, but it feels really like nice and soft and stuff. It doesn't feel like super hard or anything. I'm not going to dampen it for now, but I may do in the future. But I will actually use this to blend out the concealer. So, oh my god, it is actually really dark. Damn. I mean, I have got a few white concealers that I guess I could mix it with. I'm just going to pop this on one under eye and eyelid, just so you can see it compared to no concealer on the other eye. I mean, if you ignore the colour issue, I'm actually quite impressed. I do feel like it has actually got pretty good coverage. I feel like I kind of would consider that a dupe for the NARS concealer. So let me just get both eyes in frame there. So I'll look up. I'll look down. Pretty impressed with the coverage. I wouldn't say it's 100% full coverage, but like it's very close to being full coverage, definitely. I'm actually pretty impressed with that. I would say it is more of a dewy sort of concealer. It's not like a complete overkill of oil, but I would say it's more like oily than it is matte, but at the same time it's not too oily. It's a real shame about the colour because I feel like that's actually like pretty good. That's actually quite a pleasant surprise. That's not actually bad at all. I think that's actually pretty good considering how cheap it is. The shade range in general for like the base product is not particularly great. They don't have a lot of options. I think there's probably about 8 shades of this concealer, so it is obviously going to be very difficult for people to find things with all skin tones. But if you can find the shade that matches you, that could actually be good. So I'm going to pop this on the other eyelid. I'll wipe off my under eye on this side and just make a base for some eyeshadow. Okay, so I just set my eyelids down with some powder, so we've got a base for eyeshadow now. They don't have any eyeshadow palettes, but they do have a lot of single eyeshadows with different formulas. So I picked up 3 of the ultra metallic eyeshadows. I did also pick up 2 of their single matte shades, but as I said, they haven't arrived. It's been like 2 months. I can't be bothered to wait anymore, so we'll just use the like metallic ones today. 2 of them arrived fine, but 1 of them did arrive smashed. However, I did sort of manage to mush it together with my fingers. So this is the shade 108 Ice, which is literally like an icy shade. But yeah, I did arrive smashed, but as you can see, I sort of kind of mushed it together and it kind of formed a hole again, but it was kind of in pieces when I got it. But I mean, like, it's still, I mean, it's a little bit crumbly obviously, but I mean, I feel like it is usable, definitely. So I also got the shade 110 Olive, which is an olive shade. That's what this one looks like. I think that colour is absolutely gorgeous. They have a very sort of soft formula. I mean, that looks really pretty. That looks stunning. Yeah, the formula is super like soft, which is really nice. And then the last shade I got is 103 Ice Blue, which is this bright blue colour. Again, that swatches amazingly. These 2 shades here, they look stunning. very excited to put those on my eyeballs. I can't remember the price off the top of my head, but obviously I'll put a link to everything below, but they obviously weren't super expensive. Obviously I've not got any matte shades to do, so I can either just do an all shimmer look or just use some mattes from another palette. Yeah, I think I'm just going to take a few shades from my L'Oreal I Go Wild palette. I'll just fast forward through this. I won't go into the specifics of what shades I'm using. I'm just going to do some like transition shades. I'm going to start by using the ice shade, the white one. See if I can use this under my brow bone. Again, it's very crumbly, so obviously it didn't swatch as good as the other two shades because it's all crumbly, but I mean, let's see if it works under the brow bone. I've not got high hopes. Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like that works the best under the brow bone, but then I didn't really expect it to either. I'm gonna do a cut crease. I'll just do one eye at a time. I might as well just use the same concealer. Okay, so I'm going to stick with the ice shade, and I'm just going to put a tiny bit of that in the inner third. Okay, I dragged that out a bit further than I wanted to. So I'm going to use the blue shade, put that in the centre. I feel like the crumbly white has kind of interfered with it a bit because I accidentally put the white out a bit more than I meant to, but I really like the blue. So I'm going to use the olivey shade in the outer third. Okay, so I'm just going to repeat the same thing on the other eye. Okay, so eyeshadow done. I'm definitely impressed with the blue and the green shades. Obviously not so much the white shade, but I feel like that's because it's broken. I don't know if the formula would be any better if it wasn't broken. I feel like it was just a crumbly texture. It just wasn't working. But the blue and the green I feel like are absolutely stunning shades. Really impressed with that. Okay, so I have got an eyeliner for the waterline. So this is the Glide On Gel Eyeliner. They do have some more colourful shades of this as well, but obviously I got the black one. So it's just a standard kohl that looks like this. And it does seem to have good pigmentation from a swatch. But let's pop this on my waterlines. Okay, so I think the pigment's good. I feel like the point is a bit thin, so it's a little bit difficult to just apply it super easily, but I feel like once you get there, it's pretty good. Does the job, definitely. So we have a mascara from them. This is the 9D Natural Look Mascara. It has this very retro looking packaging. I like it. And it's got quite a long, thin wand. So I'm just going to whack this onto my top eyelashes. Okay, so that is the eyelashes. I feel like it's a little bit clumpy, and I would say it is leaning a bit clumpy, but I do think overall it's like pretty good. There's definitely some impact there, some volume, very lengthening. Definitely length I feel like's the strongest aspect of this mascara. I'm pretty impressed with it. I do feel like it's a tiny bit clumpy, a bit difficult to work with, but overall I feel like it gives pretty dramatic lashes, so yeah, it's not bad mascara actually. I don't dislike it. I actually quite like it. Okay, so moving on to base. I decided to get their Liquid Foundation Natural Look Velvety Matte Oil-Free Lightweight Longwear Flawless. It's the foundation that comes in this box. Yeah, so I didn't get the one that kind of went viral. I decided to get the other foundation just because it was described more as a matte foundation. Generally, I prefer more matte foundations. So I got two shades. So I got 101 Porcelain, which is the light shade. And then I also got the shade 104B Sand Beige. Just because on the pictures online, it looked like this one was paler than the lighter shade. So I thought I'd just pick it up in case. But then obviously I got 101 as well, just in case the images were deceptive. Which they definitely were. This is the shade 104 Sand Beige, is it? Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely not paler than the other shade. That's 101 Porcelain next to it. It is so pink, like it looks like the colour of salmon. It's just the undertones are all wrong, but at least it's a bit paler, I guess. So I don't know what to do here really. So I'll stick with the porcelain shade. I mean, really I should mix this, but I don't know, you don't even know what to mix it with. Yeah, I mean, I guess I could mix this, but I'd have to put yellow in it, I guess. I'm not even sure how I'd mix this. So I'm just going to use it by itself. The undertones are going to be completely wrong. And I'll use my new sponge. God, it just looks so pink. It just looks ridiculously different to my neck. See, it's super hot in the UK right now, so I am like a bit oily, a bit sweaty, so I feel like I can't really fully test if this is matte because I've just got a lot of oil on my face right now, but I definitely feel that it's some dew coming through with this foundation, but I don't feel like it's an overkill of dew, and I feel like perhaps on a day when my skin isn't as oily, this would look more matte, but I feel like the coverage is probably a solid medium. I'm not disliking the finish of it. The colour is definitely an issue. But I feel like the formula is actually like, it's not bad. I like it. I feel like you can probably build up the coverage a bit. In fact, let's do that. Oh, that was the wrong shade. Whoops. Oh dear. Oh no. Oh no. Damn it, I accidentally put the other shade on. This is gonna look a bit weird. Let's make it work. We'll make it work, okay? It's gonna be fine. We'll just blend it out to oblivion. Okay, well I've messed up the colour even more by accidentally putting that darker shade on. So now it just looks odd, the colour scheme. Yeah, I actually think the formula of that isn't too bad actually, and I do feel like definitely the coverage built there. In fact, yeah. I've had this little spot like right here that's been really hard to cover, but I feel like it's actually covered it pretty well. So yeah, I think I would go for, say, like it's a high medium, perhaps buildable to like a low full coverage foundation. So yeah, I don't dislike the formula of that at all. Obviously the colour shade range is definitely an issue. Again, there's only like about 8 shades or so. Yeah, the shade range is an issue. Needs work. I'll probably try and find the way to mix that porcelain shade with like maybe a yellow mixer. I don't know what I'll do in the future. We've got our full coverage concealer, which is also too dark, so I might try and mix it with a white concealer. I've got this Conceal & Correct white concealer from Revolution, so I might just add a bit of that with it. So I'll put a bit of it under my eyes to start with, and then I'll just add a bit of the white over the top of it. Yeah, I do just feel like these base products are performing really well, but it's just the colour. The colours, they're such an issue. I feel like that concealer is actually generally pretty good. Like, it's got real good coverage, to be honest. I'll add a bit to my nose and just around my mouth. Add a bit of white in. Shame about the colour, really, because I'm actually otherwise enjoying these products. Yeah, if you can find a shade for that concealer and that foundation, I would recommend them. Literally, the only issue here is the colours. I think the formula is actually, like, pretty damn good for both of those. Okay, so moving on to powders. I think there may also be colour issues here with the powders. So I got one of them, so I got a pressed one and a loose one. So the pressed one is a Phoera Sheer Matte Compact Powder, and I got it in the lightest shade, which is 201 Translucent. Are you really translucent? I mean, I feel like it kind of matches the porcelain shade of the foundation in that it looks kind of pink. I don't know. I just feel like that's going to come out quite orangey, pinky on the face. It might work. I don't know. I mean, it'll obviously work on this base because this base is very off anyway. And then I also got their No Filter Setting Powder, which is, I think this is a translucent one. Yeah, it's a translucent one. It does seem to have a bit of a yellow tint to it though, so I mean this may work. Yeah, the powder does look quite pale, but with a yellow tint. I mean, it may be a little bit too yellow, we'll see. But I guess I'll use this to set under my eyes, and then I'll use the pressed one on the rest of my face. I mean, I'm not really going to be able to fairly judge the colour because my base makeup doesn't really match anyway. Also, I just have to say I'm very much enjoying the sponge. I feel like it's blending out super well, super seamlessly, and it doesn't feel like rocks on the face. It's very soft. So yes, the sponge is great. I'm going to use my Phoera sponge to set under my eyes. Okay, for some reason I did my nose as well. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell. I feel like it's set pretty well. I don't know what the colour's going to be like on my matching skin tone. I'll have to see, but I feel like it could potentially work okay on my regular skin tone. I mean, yeah, it's set pretty well. I guess we'll use the pressed one, which won't match me, but it will match this foundation most likely. So I'm just gonna set the rest of my face down, my very oily face. Yeah, again, I just feel like the formula, again, I think the formula of both of those powders is actually pretty good. This is just a recurring thing here. Good formulas, bad colours. I do feel like that powder maybe made my base like a tiny bit lighter. So I'll be interested to try this pressed one out on my regular base. Maybe it won't be too dark. I mean, it might be, but we'll see. Yeah, the powder's definitely mattified really well. There's no patchiness, there's no separation. The finish is maybe like a tiny bit heavy, but overall pretty smooth looking, pretty pore blurring. So yeah, great formulas for this base makeup, just terrible colours, which is such a shame. So I did actually get another of the pressed powder, but in a different shade, because I figured I could use it as a bronzer. So this is 205 Golden Beige. I do feel like this is definitely going to be a little bit too deep. I feel I should have probably got one a couple shades lighter, but again, it's just so hard to tell what shade's going to be like online. Definitely a very warm caramel colour. I just feel like this is going to be too dark as a bronzer on me, but I might as well give it a go. Just gonna, oh my god, it's super pigmented as well. I'm just gonna pop this through my cheeks and on my forehead. Oh, I literally just tapped my brush in it and it's fallen apart a bit. I just hoovered that for. I mean, I guess it kind of works. See, I think I do actually really like the undertone because I like those sort of caramel kind of coloured bronzers. I just wish it was like a tiny bit lighter. But I mean, it hasn't translated super badly on the face. Like, I feel like it works, but obviously I don't know what's happening with it falling apart. I've also got a highlighter. So this is the Freestyle Highlighter Duo. And they look very similar to the Fenty Beauty highlighters. This one's in the shade 205 Lightning Dust. I really didn't know what shades to go for. I didn't know which one was going to have like the palest colours in it. I'm worried that these shades might be a little bit too dark for me. So that's what it looks like. I feel like I'd probably use this one maybe? I don't know. I'm just very worried that this is going to be too dark for me. So I've just tried to wipe off all the highlighter off my brush. So I'm going to go with this one on this side. It's a little bit more pinky toned. This one's a little bit more bronzy. This is probably going to be too dark, but I'm just going to pop this in my highlight spots. Okay, actually, I don't feel like it does look too dark. I feel like it kind of works, but again, I'll have to see in my regular skin tone. It is definitely very pretty. Yeah, I like it. It's a nice highlighter. It seems to have worked. It's not the most pigmented in the world, but like it's definitely like pigmented. You can see it on my face, definitely. I can see it in the viewfinder, but I don't know. I feel like I've been more impressed, but I mean, I don't dislike this at all. I think it's really good. I think this is the last thing I've got to try. It's a brow pencil. I didn't get a lipstick. They did have a matte bullet lip. But all of the shades that I could see on Amazon, none of them seemed particularly nude, and I'm just more into nudes, so I just decided not to pick up a lipstick. So this brow pencil is the last product I've got to try. They didn't have any like tinted gels or anything. I normally like to do a tinted gel and then use the micro brow pencil to define it a bit more. But sometimes I do fill in my whole brow with just a micro brow pencil, so I might give that a go today. So yeah, I'm just going to run through my brows with a clear gel to start with. Okay, so this is the Ultra Slim Brow Pencil. I got it in the shade 104 Dark Brunette. And it looks like this. Pretty standard micro brow pencil packaging. The colour is, I would say, quite ashy. It's bordering on black and it's also just snapped. Lovely. That is a pet peeve for brow pencils. It may be a little bit dark for me, but whatever. Let's just fill in the brow pencil. Let's just fill in the brow pencil. Let's just fill in the brow. Okay, so it's definitely worked. I think it's worked pretty well actually. I was trying to be very gentle with it because I do feel like it is a bit snappy. But I think that's actually worked pretty well. So I'm just going to set them with the same clear gel. Okay, so that is all the products tried. So I'm just going to finish the rest of my makeup off on camera because I don't have anything new to test. So I'll be back. Okay, so we are back. So this is my finished face. Testing Phoera makeup. Overall, I feel like I am like pretty impressed. I don't feel like there was any products that I really like dislike. So to go through everything, I think that the olive and the blue shimmer shade on my lids are good. I have noticed that there is some separation going on with my eyeshadow. I don't know if you can see it. It has separated a bit, but I'm going to say that's probably the concealer, not the eyeshadow. Normally it is the concealer that's the problem with that. So this concealer I think this is a good concealer, but maybe don't use it for cut creases. But in terms of the pigmentation of the shimmers, I think they're really pretty. I think the mascara is pretty good, but it is a little bit clumpy. I did have some problems with my bottom eyelashes getting a little bit embedded with each other. The eyeliner and the waterline is pretty good. I think all of the base products, the foundation, the concealer and the powders, I feel like in terms of formula, I actually really like them. I feel like my base actually looks like really good. Foundation's got pretty good coverage. I like the finish. The concealer again has got really nice coverage, and I feel like the way that the setting powders mattified everything was really good. No patchiness, quite a pore blurring finish. So yeah, overall I feel like all of the base products are really good. It's just obviously the colour issues. I really need to sort the shade selection out definitely, but if you can find a shade that works for you, then I would recommend all of those base products. This powder is a bronzer. I'm not quite sure what's going on with this because it is currently falling apart, but I mean the shade's a little bit dark, but I do feel like it kind of works as a bronzer. I like the undertone of it. I think the highlight's pretty nice. It's not the most pigmented highlighter in the world, but it does show up. It's pretty, and I don't think it is too dark for me, so yeah, that is nice. And I do think the eyebrow pencil worked pretty well as well. So yeah, that's everything. Overall, I do feel like the products were pretty good. It was just like colour issues and things like that. So I will include all of these products in an updated makeup review. It'll be my June/July one, so it'll probably be up in September at some point, just so I have enough time to play with the products as much as I can. So this won't be the last time I talk about all of these products. I will be using them over the next 2-3 months and getting as much opinions on them as I can. But that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next one. Goodbye.